like, and then we're all just gonna die alone anyway, and the world will have passed away, and another generation won't come about, and maybe this whole experiment will end, and maybe the nihilists and the evangelical,
Maybe this is
uh,
just an
the people
experiment
that
for
think that
them
human
to.
beings should just fucking wipe themselves out. It's like maybe they'll win, but in the end, it feels like, I mean, a million goddamn lives had to happen to get you to this point, to get you here, for your ancestors to have fucked and died and did all the shit they did, for somebody to finally have come along from their loins, from their branches of their trees, to be where you are,
You're
talking to me
doing.
today, and I'm talking to you, and what's it all gonna fucking add up to? A nihilistic generation that thinks it's deep to not be afraid of death. It's like, you think you weren't afraid of death, motherfucker? You're gonna be afraid of fucking living 75 years with nothing but toys and video games and movies that progressively start to suck more and more because these goddamn idiots who don't have anything in their lives either, they have nothing but Marxist politics and some blame or grudge that they hold against men or the state or the patriarchy or their fucking dad or their mom or their absent dad or whatever the fuck they never had. They have nothing, just the same. So all they can do is sit around and last for meaning and scream out into the void because they themselves are going to die. We're going to die.
I'm gonna
Everybody's
die.
going to die. And really, in the end, if it's a game, like we said, you're still, if you come back, you're going to be a poor shithead if you even fuck up and have kids, or if you have a sister and they like, if what they believe is true, and again, if anybody takes us on this as we're the gospel, it's like, you're an idiot, don't. What they believe is true is that you come back. So whether or not you have kids, you're gonna be one of your sister's kids, or you're gonna be one of your nephew's kids, or you're gonna, if your clan exists in some way incarnate without you and your family is still around and they had kids, odds are you're gonna come back as one of those little bastards. And if none of you ever get your shit together and you constantly are just like, whatever, man, it's cool to be a nihilist. It's cool to not believe in anything, even though it really takes a man and it takes balls to actually admit that you care and you understand that this is all coming to an end. The greatest,
It
most
takes balls just to
intrinsically,
it takes balls just to think of like something other than what other people think of. That takes a lot of balls. Like like if someone asks you a question and the majority is gonna be the majority, you're just gonna join the majority because it's simpler than actually having your own opinion and your own thought process. The problem with a lot of
yeah,
people
because it
is
ain't really that
fucking.
great to be on the fringe. Like, people that want to, if you're young out there and you think that it's great to be on the fringe, you like to be a contrarian and you like to say no to the yes men of the world and you like to see the look on their face, to quote Sturgill Simpson, you're going to be so fucking alone. You're going to be so jaded and
You have to be
empty
used
one
to
day
that.
because there is
But
no one
also, as far as
out there
yes
eventually.
men,
And
yes
when
men,
your
I feel
life
like
becomes such a
changes.
mediocre slog that it can't even, you can't even tell anyone that, like, yeah, man, I'm really, I'm just at my wit's end with it all. Like, where is this world going? What happened to mankind? What happened to one of the most, like, dynamically, they were able to walk the, like, societies that became obsessed with the divine aspect of life, their physical realities crumbled around them and they receded away into the past. And then societies that became obsessed with the physical aspect of life became too totalitarian and too militaristic and fucking, like, dictator-like, where there was nothing about it that was peaceful or sacred or holy or arcane. It was just, there is the state, there is power, and there is force. But then we have European societies, we have the fucking Romans, they were able to take both of these concepts, the divine and the physical, and manifest them into their everyday reality. You see it in the aging ruins of the Colosseums. You see it in the Parthenon, or I'm probably getting the name totally fucking wrong. But you see it in the pillars and the stadiums and everything that they did, and what it used to be, what it used to be more than just getting some thought with a fat ass who's already given the greatest reward. That if you are making sacrifices for it, you are a chump if you don't realize how much men don't have a position in this society anymore. And when it finally slaps you in the face, it's probably going to be the family courts or the judicial system or the gynocentric fucking laws of this society that absolutely takes you for everything you're worth as a man. And if you talk about any of this, you're a fucking Nazi, because it's just easier to label people as racists and Nazis than say, well, you know, they might have a point. Things might not be so great. We might not be going towards the stars in a ever upwards ascending progressive society that's just gonna beat all the records. It's just gonna stomp all the fucking benchmarks. It's just gonna be like, we're better than those people because we are not from the past. It's like, we are not better than them. We are quickly racing towards the edge, and we're gonna get there. Whether it's in my lifetime or yours, we're gonna get there.
Yeah. We're gonna go either
so,
down or
hard,
up.
It's hard not to be so goddamn black-pilled. Like, it's just, what is there anymore? Like, there's nothing. And people would say that, oh, well, you have, like, I've heard people from other generations, people in TED Talks, older ladies from the boomer generation, like that, oh, well, you have more of a bevy of entertainment and things to do. You young people have your Netflixes and your dating apps and your Twitters and Facebooks and all the social media that you can swipe forever and just look at it until the dopamine receptors in your brain run dry and you can't even elicit any enjoyment from a goddamn thing, from fucking anything, because the synaptic the synaptic relays in your brain are so fried that you are now, we are literally a society of hedonic nihilists, with none of you, probably not. Do you draw much joy out of anything anymore, Ben? Accomplishment when you do something? Or do you just kind of float through life like a ghost?
I'm gonna say this is that I feel like even though there is so much, like, because I'm a big porn watcher, I would say in porn.
Who isn't these days? We're all a bunch of fucking degenerates.
Hey, I mean,
I've been trying to get off this stuff, dude. I'm fucking like everybody. If you're even trying to get off it, it's like good luck. You're fucking addicted to it. Like once you actually,
no shit is
anybody
addictive.
out there, I dare you to try to actually stop with the porn, and you will realize how much they have.
Unless you're fucking girls, you're gonna be watching porn, man.
Oh, even if you're fucking girls out there, you're using them as, you're basically just using another human being as a masturbatory tool. And if you're still young enough and immature enough to validate yourself with the orifice of another human being that means nothing, and you will have nothing and no one there when you're dying on your deathbed and you're shitting yourself, or you're going blind, or you have diabetes, or you have cancer, like many average Americans probably fucking do have growing and gestating inside them, and one day you're just gonna be like, well, you see, Mr. Ferris, this is if you look at this graph, and you're just gonna have that fucking thing in your head just going away, just like,
society is fucked. But
my old friend.
I don't know, I'm more curious just to see what's happening. I'm in it for the ride, man. At this point, I'm in it for the ride, watching, paying attention, you know.
Yeah, that's all you can really do, because there's nothing left at this point. Like, people that out there that would say, speak for yourself, man, I fuck every night, I'm having a great time, or I'm in a relationship and I'm having a great time. It's like, thank your lucky stars, because this society is going to collapse one way or the other. This cannot sustain itself. This system cannot sustain itself, and whether or not through sheer force or attrition or just the demographic change that's going to put us being a Mos Eisley Cantina, a lawless hub of just nothing but handouts and social services, and which we already pretty much are. The people that want to say that America is this last bastion, like compared to every other place in the world, you can talk shit about your leaders and you won't be black-bagged or taken in the night and tortured and having your kidneys sold on the black market or whatever. You can say whatever you want. So America is still one of the best goddamn places. Again, I will say this over and over. People that want to talk shit about America and you still want to come here, why is that? Because you still want to pick the fruits off of this dying tree, off of this wilting, fucking just discarded, derelict civilization.
Yeah, but
because
is it?
Even if it is, it's still one of the best goddamn civilizations ever fucking made. And when it's gone, everyone will reap the whirlwind of what they fucking threw off a cliff.
Yeah. And then it's gonna be some other country, whatever takes it. It might be North Korea, it might be Israel, it might be, who knows, man. That's the
It's
thing.
probably just going to be a fucking port for the rest of the world to flood in and out of on their journeys to other parts of the world. You could write a very interesting graphic novel series in a place like that, but fucking wouldn't want to live there.
Yeah, almost like how Europe is a port.
Or how Pandora is a port. How, like, it could basically be like fucking Pandora or the Borderlands at a certain point. It's like lawless frontiers where people just try to go their own and cutthroat business endeavors and fucking people that treat it as it's their right to rape and pillage this country, and how fucking dare you stop me, Whitey.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, I don't know, it's hard.
People
It's
that would
hard to
say,
know
like,
what's gonna
man, calm
happen
down,
because there was once a
sweaty.
time, where it was very much like porn was looked down upon, and now it's looked upon. There was once a
Yeah, that's
time
because
when
they're
weed.
winning. That's because we're all part of the board.
There was once upon a time when alcohol was down upon. Now it's looked upon. Well, I don't know about now, but it changes. It went from looked upon to downed upon to looked upon back to downed upon. It changes. That's the whole thing. Like I don't know what's gonna go on. Like you can't. Like even if we're saying all this, there could anything can change. Just like the weather, anything can change. Just like the snap of your fingers. Anything can change, like a noise, anything. And it's the very scary thing about random chance. Like you could live a perfect life, like, and then one day you get fired, have nothing, and then your house burns down because fucking some dumbass. Like you hear all like I've heard stories about like there was kids that smoked in their grandma's house and that burnt down the house on accident and they never knew. That's fucked. That's like a whole different thing.
Hey, you can't fix stupid. That is, it's like if the world was like people don't want to do the work that's required to have a utopia. They just want to sit in a fucking theater and watch a Disney movie and imagine what it would be like, or they want to sit
I want to imagine
and
a
read a
utopia,
novella
not
or
work towards
pay for
it.
the price. Yeah, it takes
The hard thing is
sacrifice.
that
It takes the delay of gratification.
the hard
Things
thing
people have
is
no idea about anymore. These are foreign fucking concepts. It may as well be like we are missionaries bringing religion to the goddamn bonobos or the fucking indigenous peoples, and they're gonna chop our heads off or stick us on bamboo things to grow through our fucking intestines.
the hard thing too is that fucking like as time goes on, like where there's a point where it's like is it reality, is it fake, like I don't know. It's very much like you never know what's gonna happen. And like you could say is determined to happen, but shit changes. Shit does change. Black people are hated now. Black people are trying to, you see, it's like
Shit changes because there's forever a powerful group of people in the world that shift and change the narrative based upon what they want people's eyes on and not what they're really going to do and keep doing forever. And it
yeah,
doesn't
it's
even matter.
real.
I'm so fucking tired of that goddamn conversation because, yeah, they exist. And who they are, who fucking knows at this point? Could be a bunch of owl worshipping fucking pedophile elite, and you have, like, allegedly, or it could
What's
be
Al?
a
Who's Al? What's Al that they worship? What is?
giant owl god named Moloch that they worship. It's like this Luciferian Canaanite
I'm gonna look into that.
religion they follow.
Hold up, I'm gonna look that up. Keep talking, and then we'll get to explain
But
to people.
whether it's an owl god, whether it's a foreign country that we are the fucking beholden to because we are their absolute bitch, and that's where I believe now is getting older that the real seat of power is in the world. Whether it's a bunch of foreign countries or everyone is all part of this like global crime syndicate, this world powerful cabal that makes you think that they're against each other, but really they're all shaking hands behind the Iron Curtain, and they're buddy buddy with Russia, and China is buddy buddy with America,
Wait,
and it
Bow
doesn't
or
really matter
Al?
that we do.
B-A-L?
Owl,
A-L?
OWL, like an owl.
Oh, Al.
All it's to do with Bohemian Grove and stuff that nobody gives a fuck about, because whether or not that's real, and even if it is, like, there's things in documents.
That's creepy
You can look
shit,
this stuff
holy.
up. Nobody cares about any of this, and I'm fucking tired of fucking talking about it. I've
The
been
most
talking about
secretive.
this goddamn stuff since I was 15, since I was probably 13, and you think that you're gonna do anything? You think you're gonna stop the way the world goes, the way that it is, and
Okay.
nobody cares as long as you keep everybody just comfortable enough. They can take everything from you, and they will, and they have, and they are.
Alright, I'm gonna read this real quick. So, the most secretive club in America is what they called it. Atomic bomb, giant owls in the president's pissing tree, the deep forest in the north of San Francisco. There's a great little Kinsiki dive bar in the lower Nob Hill of San Francisco called the Owl Tree. From the window seat, and you can sip a dirty martini and look across the intersection of Post and Taylor, the looming ivy-clad red brick fortress. This is the city clubhouse of the highly exclusive men's society to the Bohemian Club. The Bohemian Club, okay. Look closer and you will see etching of an owl staring right back, but it is not just any owl. This is looks particularly startled, and it is surrounded by the words, "Weaving spiders, come not here." This line from Shakespeare in the Midsummer Night Dream is the club's motto and serves as a warning to leave all outside concerns out the door. 50 miles north of the city in Materio, there's a forest clearing, a 2,700-acre secured private camp among the ancient redwoods, known as the Bohemian Grove, where every summer for the last 150 years the club members got together and watched the sacrifice of human effigy, a large wooden owl, which is worshipped as fireworks go off, and cloaked high priests pray. It's that kind of club. The entire operation, along with its annual summer camp, is almost entirely hidden. No website, email, contact, no application process, no wait list of membership. It's invite
Alex
only.
Jones snuck in the 90s. You could probably still find the video on YouTube because it doesn't matter.
This all means that it's hard to glean off a lot of information about that place. But it's over the years. A few people have been able to make contact and even infiltrate the camp. The owl has recorded speech and address. The party was once voiced by a member, Walter Cronkite. I don't even know about this. I didn't even know there was a cult that worshipped owls. This is new to me.
The who's who of anybody that's ever Matt Groening, fucking Robert Ford, Henry Lee Ford, Robert, like Nixon, Clinton, like anybody that you can possibly imagine, they go to Bohemian Grove, and that is where, and it still goes on.
So
that is where they have, and they burn the effigy of either a small child or a human being. It's like a representation of that, and it's the cremation of care, because they believe
why
they're burning away
owls?
their woes.
Why owls? They have often been linked to the Illuminati and Masons. They can see in the dark, and they are very wise. Also, if you wear a tinfoil hat, they may even notice that there is a tiny owl in the corner of every dollar bill. There's a tiny...
Yeah, you never seen that?
No. Alright, the ceremony of care purpose is reportedly an allegorical banishing of worldly dual cares for the club's member. Not sure what worldly cares. These wealthy white men are, okay, so they're making this white men thing, okay, are so burdened by
I bet you it's a bunch of white looking men
talking house size bird Alright, look. So here's the thing: is that white
Because they
people are
want to
not the
turn it
problem.
away
There
from.
are Muslims that believe in this shit. There are many other races that are just as fucked up. And look, if you really want to look at it, people in Africa, black people slave their own kind, black people oppress their own kind. Why is that? Because they don't want them to win. White people are the only people that will help other people. We're the only people good enough to help other people. That's why there's more wealthy
No, I wouldn't
white.
really say that. It's like, because again, it makes it sound like a superiority thing. It's like, for anybody to think that white people were the only people that hurt anybody in history, you have a very myopic and childish view of the world and history.
Yeah,
Because
but
that's just not the case at all. Everywhere was built by somebody coming in and murdering the inhabitants, the local indigenous peoples. Everywhere was built on a hill of skulls.
so the only post I could really see anything like any big news article or anything. Well, there's a few actually. Daily Motion
But you see, it's like this is stuff I've
and
been on since I got into that stuff when I was 13, man. Like, and the world just went on. 9/11 had already happened. We were already moving towards a police state, open surveillance of your citizens. You don't have to have a warrant to fucking wiretap a standing president. Like, whether or not it's a legitimate thing, the presidency, that's a legitimate cause for concern when you know that intelligence agencies can do whatever the fuck they want. In times of crisis, if you look at what all the local governments are doing right now in this corona shit, whatever is happening, stuff is happening with the governments, is that every fucking government is basically enacting their wartime powers to be like, well, you don't need to buy alcohol, and you don't need to maybe buy more bullets.
hold up.
Said that firearms are not essential, but we're gonna still have your smoke weed, and you got all the free porn and hedonistic escapism you could manage, so you're gonna be fine, Way. You're gonna be fine. It's like, really, are you gonna be fine?
Are you gonna
be just above not going fucking mad, not going stir crazy? They keep you just at the level of forever running on the treadmill, so you can't stop for a second to think, where am I running? Who owns the
Bohemian.
goddamn gym? Did I pay for a membership? And why do I care about getting this fucking ripped?
So what is Bohemian?
Bohemian is just like free, carefree lifestyle, like sex, orgies, drug use, liberal use of like
Okay.
polygamy, polyamorousness.
Okay,
Just
so I
like
know
the
a
whole
few.
lifestyle.
So I know a
It's like
few
if you think
people
of
that are
Bohemian
like
Rhapsody,
that. I know
it's
a
about
few
him
people
dying
that are
to
like
do
that, and actually my dad was roommates with
I mean,
one.
nowadays to know anybody that's like that is not very, like, it's like you have neighbors, you have peers and acquaintances. It's like everyone is pretty much like that nowadays because they've
Yeah,
made the world into,
like that.
especially America, they've made us
Yeah,
into Weimarica.
yeah.
Like,
No, and
we are worse
fucking
than the Weimar Republic, and that's what put Hitler in power.
like
People
they
fucking don't think about history.
like they did some weird shit because they basically there was a big fight, and I don't know how much I can get into detail, but I'll just say this: they took their kids out to go camp, and then when they were texting my dad, they said they were going to go worship the nine or the divine or something, the nine divine. It was some shit like that. I don't know enough about that. I really don't. It's interesting to me. I'm like
The
curious.
Nine were the group of knights in fucking Oblivion that gave you that badass sword, and you went on that quest. The Knights of the Nine.
Probably. It was like,
Fucking going off to a fucking mystical forest to worship. Do you accept the challenge of this?
oh no, they looked like they worship some weird shit, man. Like weird ass people, man. Weird fucking people. Like I think, like as much as I think,
Everything out there gets weirder than you could possibly imagine. But the craziest thing is when you get to the bottom of it all, when you spend 6, 7, 8 years of your fucking wasted youth on this shit, you'll realize that most people pass it by. Most people know it's there. Most people either don't give a fuck. There are 3 types of people in this world. There are those who see. There are those who see after they've been shown, and then there are those who cannot see. And that's pretty much it. You'll find that no matter what, nobody cares about any of this. So much of this stuff you could get our leaders for things that don't have anything to do with the shady deep web, deep state, secret society, ancient religion, breakaway fucking societies, all this secret fucking nonsense, this dumb goose chasing rabbit hole bullshit that they just keep you forever, and your eye is not on the ball, which is that if this is fucking real, if you get reincarnated, you are going to be a poor nobody every reincarnation that comes around, because they've already succeeded this time around in the game. They've taken women and made them normalized prostitutes. They have taken men and made them hedonistic, amoralistic, fucking parasitic degenerates. If you're a modern man and you have not yet tried to crawl out of the maelstrom that is modernity, good fucking luck.
And they've made girls basically make it so they tease guys and basically say, no, you're never gonna have me.
Yeah, but they will give it to the guy that makes them wet and makes them tingle, and that is just what intersexual dynamics is. I'm not here to be like, man, why's it gotta be like that? Why do good girls like bad guys? It's like, it is the way the world. Women are attracted to above or equal to their sexual market value. People can throw all the tantrums and all the rage and flames they want at this subject, but it is true. It has been research. There's been government taxpayers' fucking money devoted to researching intersexual dynamics and the marketplaces of Tinder data and all these dating apps. All the data that goes, data is real, data does not lie.
Girls.
Men and women lie, numbers don't lie. And what women want is the alpha, like we said before, man. It is the stereotypical 6 foot thick, 6-figure income, 6 months out of a committed relationship, 6 feet tall. Yeah. And that's really not, that's
well, not most people.
And not realistic at all. Like, and especially for men too, to be like, she's gotta be like my little fucking raver bitch. She's gotta be calling me senpai. She has to have only ever had sex with me. She has to, like, everybody is basically going to hold out for their proverbial nobody, and then we're all gonna die alone. And then this generation will really understand what nihilism and Marxism and postmodernism gets you. And it's not, while the people that sold you that, while the people that sold you those books and those bills of goods, they have kids, they have families, they have a legacy, they have people that are going to be there holding their hand when they go into the fucking beyond, whether it's the mystic, whether it's dimethyltryptamine and all the fractalized math equations and universal craziness you can imagine, or whether you just go into black and you never ever come back to this mortal coil again. They're gonna fucking have someone there holding their palm in the most physical way, because this world is both the physical and the divine. And what they know is what they've stolen from us. And what they stole from us, we probably will never get back in your lifetime or mine. The nuclear family is gone. The faith in community and the homogeneity of a society is now looked at as being racist and bigoted, even though everybody else in the goddamn hemisphere can do it. Everything that used to make a man's life worth living, like, you've got a bunch of games now that you can beat. You've got a bunch of movies that you can watch. You've got a bunch of useless women you can basically use as a masturbation tool, and they can use you as a dildo, and then wonder why they're gonna fucking die alone when they're goddamn 50. Because if you want the choice, man, if you want the man that compromise is not in his vocabulary, you won't fucking tell him that number. You won't even have him bring up that conversation. But he's never gonna look in your direction anyway, because you ain't a Lois Lane, and Clark Kent is soaring high above you in the strata.
Or it's like, or guys have been guys have been so depressed, and what I feel like what's more going on, because I've been to this, is that a lot of guys, what happens is they basically they're like, they've been so humiliated, so just through everything, and yet because there's no way to get tough anymore in these days, that
there is no rite of passage. Men aren't men.
They will take any girl and just pay for them, and will never get to.
A lot of guys will settle for a girl that will be like, hey, you can date me, but this guy is also going to be fucking me, because I want to. You need to understand that I'm going to have friends and I'm going to have other guys, but I still love you. It's like, any guy that is going to accept that today, just go do something crazy that will risk your life, that will kill you in a split fucking second. I'm gonna go skydiving. What is your kick? Because do you think it's worth it to live a life where that's all you're gonna get, where your position and your station as the male in society is so far removed from what it was before, that what are you sacrificing anything for? If anything, you should be using your know-how, your skill, and your willpower as a man to get what you gotta get and get the fuck out of this crumbling society, because the board is going to be tipped over at some point. And if you're not ready, then you're not ready. And if you're still running around chasing pussy that every other guy is going to get and you fucking are making sacrifices for, and you think that you're not damaging the very fabric of the society by fucking these women and validating their ego and their sense of self through the fucking level of measurement to explain how much some of these women don't understand that your cats are going to eat parts of your body after you die in your domicile alone.
You're gonna...
To get as fucking black-pilled as you can get. And men are going to die alone too. I am most likely going to die alone after living alone for many, many, many goddamn years. Men have done that before. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not like, we're on a journey. Fuck yeah, I'm soul in the world. This is all I ever fucking wanted. Oh man, I'm so scared. But really, I understand. I will walk into that future knowing that, like, look, man, what do we expect? We shunned God. We walked away from any objective sense of truth or beauty or
We are dead.
consequences. Any fucking consequences. People just don't want them. People don't want responsibility. You want to be able to fuck whoever you want, and whoops, if he comes inside you and you get pregnant, you want to be able to just kill it because it's just a clump of cells anyway. And what kind of outlook does that leave for the youth that are just walking around as all these little nihilistic fucking zoomers, these little edgelords that think like, oh whatever man, I'm just a clump of cells, I'm gonna go shoot up the school because that bitch never fucked me anyway. This is a problem. This world is an ongoing circumstance that really only has one outcome for people like us, because again, they took everything that fucking mattered, the very foundation of what a world, what something should mean to you, and it's all gone. If you don't realize that yet, you're in for a very long and cold awakening whenever you finally come out of your stupor and you stumble up to the fucking light and realize that, whoa, that is not
What I want.
Yeah. It's not, it's like you either fucking laugh or you're gonna cry.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing left. And good luck if you're out there trying to find it. Wish you all the best of luck. Hopefully you don't get Me Too'd. Hopefully your relationship lasts. Hopefully you actually make it through marriage and don't get eaten alive by the divorce courts. These are realities of the world that they don't want men to think about. They just want you to keep playing this game. They want you to keep playing a rigged game. The modders have completely taken over the lobby and the server, and now they're gonna bitch at you and tell you to man up. And don't you rage quit, man. Don't you fucking rage quit. I need to be able to mod you. Because if there's nobody else in here, and if I can't grief you, then what is my game worth? What is my existence worth? If I can't steal your shit, man, so you can't quit the game. Because then I'm gonna have nobody's pieces on the board to steal.
I'm gonna have nothing. It's just gonna be boring for them. They like fucking with you.
Fuckers mentality. They don't want you to quit the game. They don't want you to, outside of snapping and killing you and everybody you know and shooting up your school and doing some terrorist shit so they can be like, another white man, shooting up a Walmart or whatever.
Or they could make it like, you should not live like that. You should not snap.
Outside of you doing that, they just want you to live and die. They don't give a fuck what you do. You don't even exist in the sense of being a human being that you think, therefore you are. You are just a node. You are if you stop spending, then that's when things are going to get concerned. That's when they're going to find you and be like, well, if he's not dead, why isn't he buying things? You need to fucking buy things for him.
You need to die. We need your money. We need everything. I want all your pieces on that chessboard.
Look, I noticed your parents still had their house and they were going to leave that to you.
It's almost...
That really should be ours. You're not thinking clearly.
You're not thinking for yourself.
And they're going to just... They're going to succeed. They already have. Like, it's... I'm so fucking tired of they.
You just want to know who they are, or do you not?
I'm pretty sure I know it. It doesn't even matter if you find out, if you care that much, if you want to know the way the world works. It works in that you're not going to question it. You're going to
If you had the chance because you knew who they were, would you join they?
No. Because you can't. Your mother has to be they.
Yeah.
If your mom isn't they, then you're out of luck.
Yeah.
But again, it goes nowhere, and you realize that you are still living in the world that has been hijacked by whoever they are. And so you're going to either realize that eventually, or you're going to die in ignorance. Some of you should hope that you probably just pass away ignorant of your circumstance and situation, because this is realer than you can imagine. If only you knew how bad it was, Anon. All that... memes are really the essential weight and the gravity of the principalities of mankind, but they're just painted with a lighter shade. Like they're able to like communicate something that's like, this is as real as you dying in the canyons of time and wasting away with not a legacy in the world, and all you left to the world was a bunch of skin cells and wasted fucking sperm receptacles and bitches who never meant a fucking thing to you except an orifice. You really want to be that mediocre? Do you really want to be the men that have come before us, the people that were in touch with something higher than mankind itself because they weren't afraid to feel smaller than that thing? Do you really want to be what we are now? You'll look yourself in the mirror one day, and it's that moment, moment, like you'll have the epiphany, and you'll realize you are a shadow of man. You are the last man, to quote Orwell. Look at yourself.
Yep.
And we think we're better than them. That's my whole thing of day. We think we're better than them. It would offend them for you to think that. It would piss them off. They would probably bitch slap you with a white glove and then sick the dogs on you and watch as you get devoured in their palatial estate, and they move the rug, the $10 million rug that you're probably bleeding out on, and viscera and everything of your mistake, to think that you're better than them, to think that we're better than them. They may be criminals and bastards and masterminds and just the most ruthless thugs that you could probably ever cross paths with, and you don't want to. You don't want to fucking step outside of your small little life and have these people deal with you, because they will. They have.
Yeah.
Look to anybody that they memorialize. Look to JFK.
People that have worked hard to try and get there.
Themselves. Look to, like, if you knew of Isaac Cappy, whether or not that was real. I mean, he started talking about Hollywood pedophiles, allegedly, and the guy allegedly threw himself off a bridge and then a semi ran him over. It's like, but for people to think that you're better than them, you need to get that out of your fucking head, because you are never going to defeat them, because they know us. They have us figured out down to a formula, down to a science. They know all they need to throw at you is hentai and movies and video games and fast food and endless sex and debauchery and a consequence-free, absolutely bohemian, just nothing but excess and pleasure and not with no delay of gratification. You get it now when you want it, fucking now. And you don't think that that is going to just, like, what do people, does anybody think things through? Do people war game things? Do people take it to its ultimate end? We're not going to a good place.
Yeah, and so many people don't even know about history, like, the whole thing about elders that you're supposed to learn from them, but the elders don't even know shit. Like I was talking to my dad, he didn't even know that Benjamin Franklin, one of the main guys of this country, even fought in the war with everybody else.
Well, the majority of people that you can imagine are just, some people have an inner monologue and some people don't. There's this whole simulation theory and I don't know if you've seen the NPC meme, but like some people are believed to be NPCs. Like you're having a game where like in Grand Theft Auto you are Michael or Trevor or Franklin, and then the people in the street that you can either just choose to ignore or you can do whatever the fuck you want to their hapless souls. They're just non-player characters. So most people in life, there are, some people believe, players. Those people are cognizant. Those people are, or if we're talking about it in the sense of a game, those people would be the ones that are cognizant, that are the ones that are thinking about things actively, that are not just going through their life repeating things that they've heard on TV and movies and slogans and pop culture and things that's like, they don't, like, you've met people before that probably all they can talk about is some catchphrase from Fast and Furious or some fucking, like, pop culture thing that all they can talk about is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and all they can goddamn reference is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and they can just say the catchphrases and they can say the things, and that is, it's almost like they are imitating that as a personality. Like it's them parroting their selves onto it because they don't actually have any thoughts of their own. Like some people don't talk about anything except intangibles. Other people talk about real things, like where the world is going and what the fuck is actually going on. And some people will just ask you like, oh yeah man, have you seen that? That's Sabrina? I don't know, dude. I think it was written by Carlos Pena. I don't think he was no man, we went to that party, you know, and that bitch was she was talking that one dude's dick, so I was like, you know, fuck that hoe, and man, I was gonna get all fucking, you know, swished off on if I would do just fucking mushrooms. Fucking bro, fucking those like I can't be around people like, I do stuff like that, and I can't be around people like that. The kind of fake, just mundane dialogue that just foams over your brain like this haze of just dribble and nonsense and fucking just stupidity and just shit that's like, and I don't even want to come across as like you're better than anybody if you have an inner monologue. It's not to say that those people are like, you should just kill them like Grand Theft Auto NPCs. It's like, no, if you do that, that's on you, man. You're a sick fuck. That's your own volition. Go see what the game over screen looks like, I guess. See what kind of game this is. If it's just like Grand Theft Auto, you're just gonna come back in a hospital downtown in some other part of the fucking reality where you didn't get wasted, and you'll have a little bit of money taken out of your wallet. Maybe you'll have the memories, I don't know. Maybe this is going into a dark place.
Yeah.
But this whole episode has been pretty fucking dark because I don't know how I'm feeling, man. People don't seem to. They don't. Nobody, and I don't want to be one of those idiots that's like, wake up, you fools! Wake the fuck up! It's like, I hate when people say that, because to say that
so I just read something
out there living your lives.
So I've just read something and I was like, do you think it was hard in high school having these big tits? And he's like, I thought you were popular. You'd probably be popular. And then she said, that, like, oh, it was so hard having all that attention. I don't know, just little things like that. It's like, I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, I get tired of stuff like that after a while. It's like for women to say, my sister will say stuff like that from time to time, which is like, guys don't understand, it really isn't that easy for women to get with guys. Like you get with them, and then some of them are just you don't like them at all. It's like, see, that's on you just because you don't want to
I don't
settle, and
know
eventually a
about
lot of
that
these
because
women
I've made
understand.
like fake Tinder accounts
Because
with
for
like,
guys, like it's not like the majority of them. These women are just now can discard the bottom 80% of men is that they see as average, and this is based on the fucking statistics that they've gone through the research of Tinder and all the data and all the things, the metadata that they've collected from people's use of the app. And women look at the bottom 80%, like 80% of men as average. For men, the way we see women, our attractiveness for women is based on a bell curve. So it's like it starts at like, oh, she's kind of fugly, and then okay, I can kind of get with her. She's kind of interesting in a weird, quirky type of way. I've never seen like we can look at it as like they're different. You know, there's very different. There's a sliding scale of attractiveness and beauty for men, but for women, it's either you are like, I'm wet right now, let's go. You're gonna break me down in the fucking bathroom, or you're just like, ew, get away. Oh, ew, ew.
yeah,
So, and
get away.
for women, the data says, and I don't give a fuck what anybody says, you can look this up. The data says for the metadata on Tinder that they looked at, that women see like 80% of men as average. And the top 20% of men is who they're going for on these dating apps. So if you're on there, you're most
And
likely
what
just
about
going to
for
get
men?
swiped on
What's
if
the
you're not.
data? What would the data be for men? Probably, and I'll look this up in a second, but it's probably gonna be
Like I said,
something
man, the
like
data for men is probably
sixty
somewhat
percent of
because
girls.
we have a sliding scale of beauty, so it's like men are just probably the majority of men on there are swiping for anything and everything. It's like this one comedian is like, whenever men finally get sex or whatever, it's like these guys want to act like it's like porn, and they're like, nah, man, it's only gonna be she's gonna be a babe because I don't do no fucking thoughts. I don't do no ugly ass tramps. It's like, or no fat chicks or whatever. Most guys, like after that long, like it's just like you're a hobo, to quote Dan Soderbergh, and it's like you're eating soup out in the cold, and you're just like, oh Jesus, oh God, oh thank you, oh fuck, thank you. Like you don't even care at that point. Most guys are running on such a scarcity mentality that that's why they'll put up with the bullshit of like, oh well, we're gonna be in a polyamorous relationship, or well, I've already had a boyfriend, so if you want to fuck me, you're going to be in this relationship with me and him, or I am gonna talk to tons of guys on social media, even though me and you are together. It's like, if I have to do that, I'm going to go jump out of a plane.
Yeah,
Literally, because there is nothing left for men in this society. Again, why would any of you sacrifice anything? For what? For fucking what? And you
yep.
want to be part of the problem. You want to go and just use women and treat them as whores? Then don't complain about women. If you're going to be a modern man, you deserve modern women. But if you want to be different, if you want to walk away from this burning society, from this collapsing, ruined experiment that was the West, and make no mistake, it's going to take probably 100 years to collapse, but it's going down. You're in the middle of a collapse right now. You are a part of history. It's kind of interesting to think about. Kind of scary.
Yeah.
But walk away. Just get out because you're not doing anything for anything. The majority of men, there's nothing left for you anymore. You're going to get a girl that has already given up every hole, every single naughty, promiscuous thing that they could possibly do with you, that you're possibly looking at from all this hentai and porn that your brain is fucking destroyed on. You're
Yeah.
going to get a girl that's already done that for every other guy, and she's going to make you jump through hoops. She's going to make you invest in something that there is really nothing to invest in. When she's probably not even going to be able to connect with
Make
you or
her,
pair
make
bond
him
with
feel
you to give a
special.
fuck long enough. Then you're going to do what? You're going to be the man? You're going to man up for what? For what? It's a joke. And anybody that thinks that quitting a rigged game is a joke, well, you're not a gamer. And neither am
Yeah.
I.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know. I'm very much like, it's weird. It's like everything is very I don't know, it's weird, man. Nothing's really the same anymore. Nothing will be the same ever though. There will never be a constant, there will only be change. That's kind of the fuck thing. Well,
The only
never
constant
mind.
is change.
Yeah.
There's some people that say we are meant to do this, that we've done this, and we'll continue to do this for
Millennia.
Yeah. We make societies, we bring them up from nothing except a concept and a theory, an ideology, an ism, a theology, a demagogue preaching about some new glistening
Well, I mean, if you think about it,
tangible
what
world
people,
just over the horizon.
if
And then we make them, we destroy them. We bring them about. I mean, it's much like
it,
BioShock, and you look at Rapture when it was
Yeah.
built in 1945, and the fucking thing had a good run. It went from 1945 till New Year's 1959. I mean, it didn't just collapse overnight. They actually succeeded. For a lot of people to think that if you're just getting into it as an armchair philosopher or an armchair historian, which I'm one to talk, I've barely been doing this now for maybe 2 years, but you'll realize that socialism does work for the first few generations. That's why it's so alluring. That's why it's so seductive. That's why pretty much the majority of my entire demographic, my entire age group is, a lot of them are socialist. A lot of them are Bernie bros. A lot of them think that it's going to be as easy as just take all the billionaires' money. We'll be able to pay for the healthcare. We'll be able to get free college, free education, free fucking everything, just free everything. No work, no sacrifice. It's like even if you taxed and took every billionaire's money to pay for this plan, you wouldn't have enough, and then you would have killed the entrepreneurial spirit that is so representative of what capitalism is and what America is at its best.
Here's something kind of funny. So basically, this is I'm reading these little comics and shit. They're like porno comics. It's kind of weird to do it while we're doing this little podcast, but fuck it. And basically, this guy said he basically fucked this person's wife, and he's like, now you gotta suck my dick. And he's like, please, no. You already fucked my wife. And it's like, he's fucked because they have guns to his head and shit, and he can't do anything.
Yeah.
That's what life is. That's a very good.
They've already fucked your wife, and now you gotta suck their dick. And you, all of us, are gonna suck that dick.
Yep. And then you never know what's gonna go on. That is life. They've already.
Bright sunny day, man. It could be a whole new world. It could be once upon a December. There is no time like the present. All this bullshit you can throw at a fucking greeting card that you can put in a stencil, that you can pop onto a message. You can be like, I like that one, let me send this. It means nothing when it comes to the reality of it probably won't. Things are sliding into the abyss of moral relativism, postmodernism run amok. There is no more God, there is no more beauty, there is no more objective truth, there is nothing to hold people back from their most carnal desires, because there really isn't a hell or a heaven most people can tangibly see, so they think to themselves, well, what the fuck, I'll just fuck my sister, I'll just jack off to all this incestuous porn, I'll just fucking jack off to a bunch of chicks with cocks, I'll just jack off to every image on Rule 34, anything that I want to turn into porn, I can, because no one's stopping me.
So
no
there's
one's there to tell me that even when no one's watching, I should be striving to do the right thing, because even if there is no God, the only reward I will have is to have lived a noble life. But in the end, I'll put myself in a hell of my own creation that is more epic that any biblical literature could probably ever spin a yarn about.
So I'm gonna play a video real quick because I think you'll find this interesting. Hold up.
We got married, so this is my wife now.
Hey, can you please stop talking?
Well, the wedding actually went just great. It was in Vegas, Las Vegas. We went through a drive-through. I guess that's tradition in her family, she said.
You're gonna introduce me?
Hey! Chet's here too. That's my wife's boyfriend.
Fuck buddy, more like it.
Yeah, we don't do labels.
Yeah.
Me and Chet get along so great.
Chet, one letter,
this isn't actually fun
one
for
letter,
me.
two letters away from Chad.
I like it. I have yet to have sex with her. I have seen her naked though, so.
So you paid for everything, right? Right?
Bring the water!
I'm sorry, I'm here.
There you go. Bring it! Hurry!
Okay.
Thanks. Get out!
Get out!
Oh my god!
Right now. You're such a turn off. You're literally so
You think she's
disgusting.
gonna come right now? You need to get out!
I love you.
Get out!
A little life update.
That shit's sad, man. Cause there are people that actually go through that shit. That's like a comedy skit, but it's very much the truth.
But there
Cause
really
there
are
are.
guys that like put up with that because you have such. Is it really worth going to such extremes to get laid when you feel like nothing? Like you feel as low as an insect. You just are using your very base level pleasures to get you by in a life that eventually you're either probably going to kill yourself or just waste away. Because what we're trying to get at is that you're still going to go on, and no one in their right mind has any idea how bad it is, because most people are doing better than you,
And most people see you as white, so they're like, I don't care.
Fucking care. Especially if you're white. You're privileged. You're a privileged colonizer, imperialist, evil. You deserve everything. This is an eye for an eye. And the whole world is closing its eyes.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting, cause I have a feeling that shit's gonna keep going, but honestly I don't know anymore, cause it's like, maybe it's changing, maybe it's not, cause it's like, I see small...
We are reverting back to, with this whole scare, with the virus scare, we are reverting
definitely
back to the 1950s in a lot of ways. Like, feminism, I think, is on the way out, because women are looking for men now to protect them as shit goes, and starts to increasingly get a bit more eerie and uncertain. Like, as local governments are like, well, you don't need to buy guns anymore, and, well, the gun stores were already run on, so if you didn't get any, that's your problem, and sorry.
But no one's gonna care about the local governments, because everybody cares about the entire world. They don't care about their own community. Like, that's the problem with a lot of churches.
The local government until they have you locked in your house telling you that, well, essentials are not necessarily alcohol or firearms, but you can get weed, so
like all these churches that do donations to areas like Africa do nothing for your own community, so that's why I don't.
All of California is quarantined right now.
Yeah.
So if you had a sick relative in your apartment, or if you needed to go somewhere for elective surgery, you know, they said put a lot of those things off right now because you don't want to be in a hospital. Again, that's the things that people aren't thinking about when they're talking about, like, oh yeah, man, boomer, and I'm such a little edgelord. And I don't even
The only
care about
person that I know, I only know one person.
outside of digital entertainment and fucking naked chicks online and Belle Delphine's bathwater. It's like you have no idea what it is to truly.
And what's
love.
going on when everybody's inside and they can't go outside? What's going on the outside?
Yeah. They could just be moving things right along. They probably are. They're probably robbing people blind out of the. Well, they are. There was a group of, I think it was either 6 or 7 congressmen that sold their stocks in hotels and a few other businesses that I'm totally forgetting. But they've sold it like in I think January, like a few months before this whole crisis broke out. So as if they pretty much had insider information, like insider trading and things. And you will go away the rest of your days. You'll never see this world again in the broad daylight. if you did something like that. If you live like them, you won't be living much longer. At least not in a 4x4 cell.
Yeah.
And they do it's rules for thee, not for me. Like, doesn't matter what you think, man. It doesn't matter what any of us
Doesn't
think.
even
The
matter
world
what I think,
has
cause
already been controlled and connected. And if it's me believe that these people have every angle covered, then like I said, all you can do is get ready to live your life because you're in their world.
yeah, you are in my mode.
There's so many things that people don't think about. You come back to movies, music, games you've played 1,000 times over. Does it ever all just start to feel like that moment when you're in a game and you want to just turn off the radio stations in Grand Theft Auto, or you turn off the Pip-Boy radio in Fallout, turn off the things that have been playing on repeat in your head, occupying the space in your brain where novelty lives between boredom and exhaustion, fatigue.
I'll be doing this now.
Can you really say that it's any different when you get so tired of everything? Like, what matters anymore, even when everything has been taken and subverted, but you've got a bunch of shitty movies you can fucking watch, or series that will ultimately go nowhere, the majority of them. Only one I could ever really think of that sealed the deal at the end and just didn't leave you hanging on a cliffhanger. Breaking Bad. Everything else, nah, it doesn't even seem to matter at this point. Game of Thrones was 8 wasted years. Lost was... Don't even get me started on Lost. Anyone that says Damon Lindelof is one of the greatest writers of our time, you have no taste. And to quote Rick from the otherwise underwhelming season 4, I've seen what makes you cheer. I care not for your booze. Probably butchered it, and I did. But, you know, a lot of times nowadays we're even like that again. Rick and Morty, that used to be great. Now it's just a way for the writers to puppet their liberal, far-left authoritarian ideology against viewers who otherwise would just want to watch a show that's like, hey, this is an interesting show, man, about a nihilistic alcoholic mad scientist who abuses his grandson. And they go on interesting adventures and defy and break apart and dissect the tropes of that entire genre and that space of stories. But what are we really waiting for? Like, it's not going to be... The more and more time just goes on, I'm like, I'm just getting older, man. That's all it's going to be. I'm just going to get older, and then eventually you'll either settle for a used up woman that washes up on your shores in your late 20s or your 30s, which is only 5 more years around the corner. And she settles for you, and you settle for her. Thus the cycle starts all over again. But is that any worse than living alone for 50 years? Because a lot of the times men will tell themselves, well, man, I'll take care of myself, I'm an Adonis. A lot of times, if you don't have anybody there to tell you that the years have passed and you could have used a mirror for the brunt of them, you won't even upkeep your appearance, and you'll fall apart as the years go on. Or will you hate each other? Will you end up in a sexless marriage, as most people will tell you you will. And there's not all of them. Obviously, not all relationships, not all marriages. People that are not doing what the rest of the world is doing like to tell themselves that I bet they're all miserable. They probably want to kill each other in their sleep. And that probably just isn't the case. I don't think there really is a solution or a way of doing things that isn't too authoritarian, where you have to police people and order them around and make sure you censor them and monitor them and stipend them and prevent them from breeding and do all this other shit. But then what is your alternative? You want a world that's where people are so fucking stupid that they believe the government that tells them that we're going to keep you safe. We just need to take all of your options that were your own actual way to keep you and your family safe. But it's cool, man. We got you. We're going to keep you safe. Don't even trip, bro. Nobody asks. Nobody questions it. We're going to go right along with it. We're going to take it. Gonna take it. That old song. None of you even know what the hell I am referencing. Why? It's another night. It's another year. And 2020 could be the apocalypse. Could be another Great Depression. Some people say it will mirror the 20s, the 2020s. And I would hope not. Because it's probably not going to be the easiest. I mean, it's going to definitely be hard times creating strong men. But then you have those strong men creating good times creating weak men creating hard times, and then you go back over through the cycle.
Goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's almost like a
swinging of the pendulum, the passing of the seasons. You live, you die. Are you reincarnated? Who gives a goddamn, because you probably suck at this life anyway, so why are you wasting your time on that conversation?
Yeah. I mean, if the whole thing about, I don't know, interesting stuff, very interesting. It's like, we're not Canadians, we're not anything, to be honest. I'm just waiting for my, right now, like, all I'm doing is eating a chocolate bar, waiting for my, dog to come back down, to come outside, because I'm letting it out.
Just walking through Michael's empty house, trying to make him live a depressing existentialist existence. This game can be a very cathartic tool for realizing how empty it would be to possibly be rich. People could say what they want, but I believe it could. It allows you to engage with the decadence and the overuse of every type of novelty and drug and thing to make you feel, you don't feel that gnawing sense of like, what's next? And, well, now what? And, well, now I'm fucking bored and I wish there was more and I'm gonna fucking die. I'm going to die. I'm going, because that's what you're trying to fight off with all of this.
There's knowing that you're gonna die.
Everything
Media is a distraction to keep you from.
And we, like, again, that's why they can sell you the experience in so many ways. The experience of going to the water park, of going to the concert, Warped Tour when I was a kid. Now it's like the fucking.
But when you go there, it's not.
Daisy Carnival or the trap festivals my sister goes to, or it's gonna be you on box back, you on the DVD cover. It's gonna be you in the fucking poster, you on the brochure. It's you in the goddamn driver's seat. It's you jumping over the dudes at White Sands. It's you parachuting. It's gonna be you. And in the end, all it's ever gonna be is you. So how can you say that when you put an experience like a video game, like Grand Theft Auto 5, and you take the you, the seat of consciousness where you occupy yourself as in your day-to-day life, and then you willingly suspend your disbelief and you become a different you as Trevor, Franklin, Michael, or your online character in Grand Theft Auto, how can you say that's any different from the experience that they've just sold you of like, You want to do some crazy shit? You want to be a rich fucking dirtbag? Play this game. And if you're really imaginative, you can really see the philosophical, like,
You're
the
better off to buy
existentialist
the ticket and
nature
take the ride.
of Grand Theft Auto is what I love about this game, why I will always love this game, is because most people just see it as like, yeah man, I'm gonna go drive around and be exactly what this game is making fun of, be a fuckboy with a Uzi, talking all illiterate as shit. It's like, I love it because it truly shows the vapid emptiness of existence, but also somehow the beautiful divinity of everyday, like, reality. Like, you still have to, the people that made this stuff still have had to spend 6 fucking years of their lives designing and crafting and coding, purposefully putting life into this map that people are still speeding across at 200 miles per hour in some stupid supercar.
You're doing the games a
missing all the little
disservice.
details.
You're doing the games a disservice.
Yeah. There's so many little things that you can do in this game that I realize that the things I love to do now are the small things. Like, you don't even have to kill anyone or go on a boring rampage like in the original Grand Theft Autos. You can, like, last night, Michael, I was just messing around, I turned on the game, and it's like just the magic of this game that you can find something so dynamic every time, like even without trying. Like, I was playing as Michael and I'm in the part of the game where, because I reloaded an old save, where his family leaves him and he's just alone in the house and there's no one there. He's absolutely alone, just facing that crisis of being a failed father, failed husband, and just a piece of shit all around. I mean, not that most of the characters in the game aren't pieces of shit, but so he wakes up and like it's that scene in the game where like he comes to and he's like got a gun in his hand, he's like ah, and then like he's like startled out of bed. And so he wakes up and like you as the player take control, and then yeah, you could do what every fucking gamer does, is like the game is giving you control of Michael, you're back in his world, quickly sprint outside and go punch somebody in the face, or go shoot something, or go steal a car and run over a bunch of people, or go blow something up. But that is fucking boring. If you really take into account how you can roleplay in a Grand Theft Auto game, and you really want to take into the existential, like we're talking about how dark this fucking podcast is, you can then wake up after that sleepless night, because you wake up and it's still dark outside, right?
Yeah.
So I walk downstairs, and as the character, I'm now acting. Like, I know what I'm doing, I'm playing in the universe, but I'm playing a much darker game than just what I would have done as a boy playing these games. Like, I'm gonna run outside and shoot somebody, dude, because I'm hard as fuck, and that's evil. It's like, no, what's evil is this retired murdering bank robber in his $1 million McMansion fucking waking up in the middle of the night with his nightmares and his gun, and then fucking going downstairs. So I walk him downstairs, and I get out the alcohol, and I just stand there, and I have all the music of the game turned off, because I just like to hear the ambient sounds, and I like to hear just all the dynamic sound effects and how good the sound design is in these games, and I'm pretty fucking tired of all the music, because I've heard it since 2013, you know what I mean? So it's just the sounds of the nights, and crickets, and his empty house, and him with the glass, just sitting there drinking, and like, you're doing excessive, horrible things to your health at ungodly hours of the night. Then I went and got in the car, and I sat in the garage until, and just looking at the steering wheel, just thinking of like this guy has everything. Like, when you really think of the character, Michael, he has money that you will never have. He has a fucking house that you will never live in.
But he's done things you'll never do.
And you can play him as like, why would I want to be this man? Like, why would I ever want to live such a cold, just mediocre, endless joke of a fucking life? Like, Michael thinks he is the character in a movie he loves because Michael loves cinema. You can tell by if you've played the game as many times as I have, Michael loves cinema. That's why he's always quoting cinema. He's meant to sound like a fucking movie character, and he's such a goddamn cringe loser for it, because it's like, you're murdering sociopathic, nihilistic, fucking greedy asshole, man. You deserve nothing but to be a blank stain on the like, every time I kill these characters in creative ways, it's the only game that I truly never feel like, when I die in Breath of the Wild as Link, I'm like, God damn it, no, like I really feel like I just got the hero of time killed. Like there's no way Link would have went out like a bitch like that. It's because I wasn't paying attention. But I go out of my way to fucking murder these characters because they're all pieces of shit. They're all just fucking irreparable human beings. But it's what's very beautiful and very human about Grand Theft Auto in a way is that they make some of the most irredeemable, just fucking amoral, disgusting, sick, criminal characters that you will ever find in a game, but they're still human. They're still very, like, you can see that, like, well, am I any better? Like, am I really any fucking better? The things... I've done some shit in my life that I'm not too proud of, man, and I couldn't ask for a lot of the good things that I once asked for, so it's like, are we better than the people that are willing to go out and murder a person like you or me because you were in the wrong fucking bank or you were in the wrong fucking place at the wrong fucking time, and they're not gonna think about you, you little faggot, so they're gonna move on with their life. They're gonna cash that foreign offshore check, and they're gonna go live in the mansion. They're gonna go live, and they may have that night of waking up in a sleepless stupor, feeling that there is nothing worth it, but they're not in a cold, leaky, fucking windowless shack. They're in $1 million mansion with all the amenities and all the creature comforts. I'm not defending what these people do. I'm not saying that anybody should be out there being that. Because like I said, if there is no God, as Socrates said, all you can really do is live a just and good life. And when you die, you are a just and good man, and no one can really take that away from you. If there isn't a God and you decided to go around raping and murdering and molesting your fucking little sister and fucking shooting your dad in the face and fucking raping cats and doing all the just fucking forcing your shit down your victims' throats, like just being a fucking waste of life.
Waste
Then
of
you
space.
still were a waste of space. Even if there is no God and you die and you go into the black, you put your shit into people's mouths against their will when you killed them after kidnapping them. You were that kind of person. And if nothing matters, then it matters that someone can be that human beings could be that fucking sick. So why would you do it? Even if this is pointless, even if it's a game that's going to be turned off by the kid who got bored of it a long time ago, and once the power goes out on their world, why would you do it?
The power goes out I remember someone told me nothing good happens in the nighttime. I don't know about that.
And so through
Everything happens in the nighttime though.
In the nature of Grand Theft Auto's gameplay, where you can really ask yourself, like, and so after I'm drinking, right, I drink until Michael gets well in plaster, where the game makes you put away the bottle, and you just sit there waddling for a moment, listening to the sounds of the evening, and the empty creaking of his mansion, and there's no one there anymore, he's alone, and you go out to the garage, and you sit in your car until the buzz wears off, and so I just start driving, and I just start driving out to the country, and when you're playing the game like this, you really get a sense of, like, living, like these deep philosophical moments of, like, human dread, of, like, he has everything. Well, in this playthrough, I actually was different because I blew all my money in the stock market, so he woke up after this, and, like, I hadn't played this playthrough in a long time, so it was, like, an interesting change of pace. It was, like, usually you're used to being a billionaire, you know, so much money that everything you do in the game is just a mechanic.
Yeah.
And so I blew all my money, and so I was sitting in the car, and I tried to go and get a taxi, and he had no money, and so I go back into the garage and just sit in the car until eventually I back out, and I'm driving out to Blaine County, and, like, you really get a sense of, like, because I'm driving the speed limit, you know, I'm trying to go at least, like, 35, 45, 60, what I think it'd be on the highway out here. And you really get a sense of the
Well, on the highway, it's
out to
usually
this
50.
place.
It's usually like 50.
I mean, on our highways, it's like 65, 70. But, like, and you get a sense of the distances out to this place that's like, where's Michael going? Like, what's he doing? He's just driving out here in the middle of the night. And then so...
Because he's on a
I
spiritual
drive
quest.
and drive. Yeah, it's like you can really choose to get a lot out of this game, man. Especially in the story mode. But you can ask yourself very deep questions just playing Grand Theft Auto.
It's kind of
You're
weird.
driving around in the night, and There is no music on. You just hear the road, the whirring of the tires as the asphalt cracks and slides beneath the rubber. You
Yeah.
just see the headlights stretch off into the horizon, and there's a car in front of you, and you can see the person in there, even though it's probably off like 2 or 3 in the goddamn morning. They're just like sitting there, and like it's a very crazy
Looking
thing.
depressed, like they're just like, fuck, I gotta go to work, and it's 4 in the morning. It's 4 in
And
the
it's a
fucking
very
morning.
crazy thing.
Go to fucking work at 4 in the goddamn morning.
Yeah, you can place all of these real world aesthetics onto the otherwise like, oh, they're just NPCs. I know in all reality that guy isn't going anywhere. He's just gonna drive around until eventually the engine blips him out of existence, you know?
Yeah.
But you could follow some of these cars and they will stay there forever, but does it really make anybody less real to you when you're not gonna follow them home? Like you're like, does that guy really go back to his house? I'm gonna follow him home, and you're gonna get a fucking warrant. The cops called on you, but I mean, you're not gonna ever do that because you're like, no, these people go home. There's a world outside of this street. There's a world outside of my room right now. But how is it any more than the disbelief that
Well,
you
don't go in every
in a
house.
GTA?
You don't go in
believe
every
these
house in
things.
real life.
But that's going off on sort of another tangent. Don't really know what I'm saying with that one. But I'm driving around, right? And so he's driving around, and it's going on like the wee hours of the morning, and the light is starting to peek through the clouds. And so I come to this like guy who is tied up, and I had never fucking found this shit before, man. And I've played this campaign since 2013. I've replayed it and played it and done every different which way that I can. And so I come to this guy tied up on a telephone pole. And it's just Michael, like, driving around, like, after his whole night of, like, just driving along the highways, looking out along the deserts and the dunes of Blaine County, and just wondering, like, why the fuck he's even bothering anymore and everything else. Because for me, it's more like getting the story and the bits of the really deep role-playing moments that I don't think the story ever even approached. Because the story is the worst goddamn Grand Theft Auto story in the entire franchise.
Like if you run around as Franklin, there will be people that know Franklin. They'll be like, "What's up, Franklin?" And they'll just come up to you, but it's very rare.
If you stay in that neighborhood, like what a lot of people don't do with this game is, again, they don't role play. They don't, like, you start the game and you want to get all the stuff you saw in the trailer, so you quickly do mission after mission after mission after, you're just grinding it, you know, like any game. So you get Frank out of the ghetto, you get him into his big house, and then the game ends. But if you replay the game, man, and you freaking actually live and, like, exist in that little area of time where Franklin is part of the ghetto, and he did come from there, and he did grow up there, it's a whole other aspect of the game that you miss out on when you're just like, boom, gotta kill this guy, boom, kill this guy, kill Stretch, alright, I did the jewel heist, now I got the house. Like, you're just, you know what I mean? You're missing out on so much of the detail and the depth to these games.
Yep.
And so I find this guy, and he's tied up on a pole, right? And he's got lipstick all over his chest, and it says, "Suck my cock." And he's got, like, panties in his mouth, and I'm like, oh, this was probably a bachelor party or something. And I've been in the first person this whole time because I love playing Grand Theft Auto in the first person, because, again, it's where a lot of the really, like, just walking up on Franklin's house and seeing how high up it is in the point of view of the first person, and then calling Tanisha one last time. Like, it's a day where, like, you just randomly, again, I'm going off on a lot of tangents here, but I goddamn love this game and I hate this game. But again, I hate video games and I love video games. You just randomly, you see, like, you've probably played the campaign a bunch, right? Where you can see Franklin, where you randomly go to him and he's like eating chips or something in his house or watching his big ass TV.
Wait, you mean like if you go, like, Michael goes to Franklin's house? I've always tried that, but I could never get that to work.
Yeah, you can do that too. I've done that before, where I've, like, had Franklin in Michael's house and I come home and Mike's like, "Frank, what are you doing here?" And he's like, "You want to hang out?" And you're like, dude, that's mind-blowing. That's how much
I've always tried to get some
Rockstar
shit
was
like that to work.
games. The craziest shit that I ever, like, if you follow your friend around too much, they will knock you the fuck out. Like, they'll knock you out in one punch. Lots of different shit. But it's so, like, anyway, to go back to what I was saying, it's like, I find this guy, and it's like probably 3 or 4 in the morning at this point. The sun's coming up, 4 or 5 in the morning. The sun's coming up, and he's got lipstick all over him. And so I pull over on the side of the road. I'm in, like, first person, so I pull up really slowly, and you're asking him like, "What happened, man? What's the trouble?" And he's like, "Oh, bachelor party, man. I don't even know how I got out here. Can you give me a ride?" So I get out of the car and I approach the thing and cut him down. And now Michael has a mission. Now Michael is like the GTA character, you know. Now he's like doing the gameplay where the game will lure you into like. I was just trying to have a depressing night of him driving off, being all suicidal and like, "What is love?" as you're driving on the fucking highway, you know, like as these deep moments. And then now Michael's like doing like, cause he's in his character. I like to think a lot that his character, and he even said it in the story when he's talking to his psychiatrist. He's like, the only time where I feel competent is where I got a price on my head or a gun in my hand. And it's like when he's doing a mission, when he's basically doing that typical GTA shit.
That was another thing.
So,
you don't really go to the counselor's office a lot, and you don't really get to see him as a character.
that's because you have to actively think about, like, you really have to role play the game and think about the shit that Michael just did. Like, if you're gonna play it like a GTA, just do all these missions where you're killing people and blowing stuff up. And I mean, dude, after the first mission you do, where you get knocked, where you start working with what's his name, Bill and, or was it Bill, Steve Haynes and Dave from the FIB, you know?
Yeah.
After he hits you over the head with that truncheon and you wake up in that, on that slab in that FIB place, and you fucking kill all those guys and escape by jumping out the window. I mean, after that, you can then call your therapist and head right down there the next day if you're role-playing and you're thinking is like, dude, how long has it been since Michael's really done anything like that? I mean, yes, he's robbed banks, he's probably killed people, he's been a criminal, but how long? He's had kids, they've grown up, he had a marriage, he put them through, like, they've done a lot of stuff. So for him to get back into this, you got to think that, I mean, he's still gonna be like having the shakes and shit and be like, what the fuck am I doing? So if you go to the psychiatrist, man, you get, I mean, that's why the game ends with a psych evaluation. Like, most people don't even, again, most people never even goddamn played the GTA storyline. They got Grand Theft Auto for the online and they never messed with this story mode. There's a lot of stuff. My favorite part of the story mode is the beginning when Michael's life is falling apart. I thought that was some of the coolest, most subtle, like, having a family in a Grand Theft Auto. It was truly something. It was like, wow, like it floored me. It was never done before in a Grand Theft Auto game. It was truly unique at the time. It was like, wow, man, I love this dynamic. But then the game just goes calypso after Franklin gets the fucking house, and the dynamic between, you should have been able to pull the trigger whenever, but going back to what I was saying with the guy. So he's in the car, I'm driving away, he's got the lipstick all over him, and he's like, I'm like, what happened, man? He's like telling me it was a bachelor party late last night, man. You need to get me to my house, I need to get the tux, and I need to get my probably dead best man, I need to find him, and then we need to get to the church.
Yeah.
And so I'm driving Michael's car, and it's all beat up because the night before when I was driving around, I went to a shitty clothing store out in Blaine County just because he's wasted and hungover, and I'm like role-playing, thinking like he's just gonna drive in here. And so I walked in there, and it's like midnight, and like he's got no money because he blew all his money in the stock market, because that's how empty his life is. He's trying to make big money in the stock market, and this time around I wasted it all. So he's, compared to Franklin and Trevor, Michael's broke. So it's kind of interesting playing as him in this playthrough because I lost everything in one day, and this is at the point where it's a very interesting element that you can add to it. This is at the point that his family left him, and then I'm like, well, fuck it, I'm just gonna do this one last.
Like whenever I played as Trevor, I never invested into the stock market as him because I feel like Trevor would never deal with the stock markets.
I don't know, man. He's all about Incorporated and TP Enterprises. He's very
but the reason why I feel like
legitimate, but no one will ever take him serious. It's kind of his whole thing is like
he's trying to do a business deal.
Trevor is one of the most complex characters that I think has ever been put. He is one of my favorite things about this game is that he's so hard to figure out. He really is.
Yeah, he's also Canadian.
Sick fuck, but you almost can't really blame him, but I mean, in a lot of ways you can, but he's also represents the genre of GTA when it was like, you could just kill and maim and fucking murder hookers and do whatever the hell you want, because they're murder simulators. That's what Jack Ryan would always say about Grand Theft Auto, so he got himself pushed last.
They're trying to they're trying to redo that shit. They're trying to, but it's like, really? Are they really murder simulators? Like, if I'm gonna be honest with you, because I have had these thoughts, I don't care if they're well known. I've had thoughts of shooting up schools before when I was really young because I was depressed.
I think everybody, man, it's like I said, Jung has that whole thing of integrating the shadow. Everybody has dark thoughts. If you don't, you're probably the weird one.
Yeah, no, and the thing is, how I got it was not games. It was around the time of I saw my first school shooting on the news, and I was like, you know, I made it like I almost like felt bad for the kid, you know, because I'm sure he went through some shit, you know, because I was going through some shit. You see, you see what I mean though? Like, it's very much, I don't know. It's very much like, I don't know, maybe I'm so desensitized and jaded or whatever it's called, but I just don't feel like anything really matters anymore, like, but at the same time I do. It's very much like it's like what to most people would be the craziest thing in the world, to me is just like that's another day, you know?
Yeah,
like
I thought like that when I was your age. You find as you get older and life starts to really set in that odds are you're not going to die a young badass. You are going to die a scared old man fearing age and decrepency and attrition.
Yeah.
But it's very easy to think that nothing is real when you are young and you are goddamn near and vulnerable. But the world is real, and it is getting realer by the second, by the year.
Yeah. I mean,
That's why I maybe find more things like this in Grand Theft Auto. It's like, so going back to what I was saying, it's like, he told you all that, right? You need to get his best man, and so I'm driving back out now, and it's like 6 or 7 in the morning, and the light is coming up.
it's
You
just
can
like,
imagine
what the fuck am I
Michael's
doing?
just been, yeah, and if you follow the stream of consciousness, because a lot of people also don't think about what they've been doing. They just are running around doing shit and not even thinking about it, you know? Michael woke up, had a gun in his hand, is like freaking out, goes downstairs, drinks himself in absolute unconscious haze, drives off to Blaine County, which is like basically however the farthest town you can probably imagine from where you're at right now. You're not just gonna get up in the middle of the night and just be like, fucking I'm going for a drive.
Like a few minutes ago, this bitch just posted on her story, she's like, and it's a girl, she posted a gun on her hand, and she's like, who wants to smoke or some shit? And it's like, are you really, and I know her too, and I know she fucking wouldn't do some shit like that, but it's very much like, are you really ready to have murder on your conscience? Whether you get away with it or not, are you really ready? Are you prepared to have murder on your conscience? Because you just murdered someone, you just affected their family, you affected their kids that they could have had.
And you're ready for somebody to come after you and do what you did to them, because you might have an angry son wanting revenge, or a cousin, or an abuela, or a husband, or a father, or somebody. You mess with one person, you probably mess with another.
Yeah. I mean, there are very few, like...
So it goes from Michael waking up with a gun in his hand, going downstairs, at the point where he's driving off after drinking himself almost to death. He's now out here, he's got this guy in the morning, and he's wondering, like, how in the fuck? And so you drive back to his house, which wasn't that far, it was like right on the coastal highway near those really expensive apartments. He goes inside, there's literally a moment where, like, because again, I'm playing in first person, so he's like, alright man, you wait here, and the facial animations have not aged that well. I mean, not that they ever looked that great in first person especially, you know? But he's like, alright man, you wait here, I'll be back. And so I'm just sitting in the car, and it really does feel like, just because you're not looking at him, like there's a guy in the passenger seat with Michael that he picked up on the highway, and so you hear him open the door, and then the door's shut, and he goes into the house. And so you get out, and he's like, alright man, you're driving the car over to the church, or over to where my best man is. And so you get into this really nice, like, Cadillac, like this wedding car is like all white and got gold trim on it, you know, it's like basically for a wedding day. And he's like, man, I'm still too fucked up on these shrooms. So you need to drive over and get my best man. And so now Michael is just in full, like, okay, Rob, now I got a fucking objective. Now I got to actually help these guys.
That's it with
now we go over-
shrooms and bachelor parties. I don't understand it.
I don't know, man. I would never think that, because I've done enough shrooms to know that that's really not a campfire drug. It's not a thing where somebody isn't going to hijack
Maybe
a trip and make it all about
acid.
them. It's going to be a bad night.
I could see
Yeah,
acid,
probably
but
acid, because
why do
acid's more
people...
like a theme park? But it's very interesting to think about what is happening here, man. So this guy is then relaying to you after you go over to the bar that's on, you know that biker bar that's like right when you're driving out on the coastal highway, and you know that place where you go like right where you're about to turn and start heading into Blaine County and Trevor's area where he lives, and it's like that little coastal biker bar. So we drive out there, and his best man is there, and he's like his black buddy or whatever, and he jumps in the back of the car, and like, I'm not looking at him or whatever, because like, I'm focusing on the road, I'm trying not to fuck up this car, because it's not Michael's. And so he's like, oh man, you were so wasted last night, these are the stories you're gonna tell the grandkids. And like, I glanced back at him one time, and it was like, I didn't see his mouth moving, it was just him giving a
Those
stern
are not a
glance to his
story
best
you're
friend
gonna
that's
tell
home.
the grandkids.
And
You're
you're
not
just like, man, it really does feel like these two like are kind of having an awkward moment. He's like, God, this guy in the front kind of sounds like he's not gonna hang out with him anymore, and this guy doesn't know that like we're just picking you up because you have to be at the fucking wedding. And so it's like this very awkward, tense moment as you're driving around, and then you get to the point where you finally arrive at the church. So you pull up and you skid into the parking lot with seconds spare. As they jump out, he's like, here man, keep the car, youre. So at this point, from waking up the night before in an endless journey of like, oh, what am I? And I'm just driving around in this existentialist nightmare that is Michael's life. Now you're driving back because they gave you this car, and you actually did this mission that the game pulled you into. But if you think about it, how much, like, when Michael was waking up with that gun in his hand, these dudes were probably meeting up for beers, and then as he was, because if you think about the flow of time in the game, if you want to think about it, how it kind of goes faster than ours, but if you really think about the stuff that's happening, and you want to really, this is how I think about games in my head, like when I'm really immersing myself. And so, as Michael is like finally going downstairs and drinking, they're probably deciding to go out to the forest and get really fucked up on shrooms, and then he's driving around outside of, because it may take people only minutes to get out of Blaine County because they're usually holding the trigger down fully, you know, but it took me probably about, in real time, 15, 20, 30 minutes to drive out as far as I did, and then as driving around all night, and then eventually finding that guy. So you have to imagine in all that time that these guys are getting fucked up and they're going on their crazy adventure, and then by the time that you as the player meet this guy in the morning, you have a real sense of synesthesia, of like all the elements, all the stars are aligned in this fake narrative, in this simulated world, to truly make you feel like this shit is really happening, man.
Yeah.
But
Well,
most people, they miss that. They don't care at all. They're just running around shooting.
Yeah, it's almost sad. And
I sometimes think I'm a madman in the way that I think about games, because nobody would try to immerse themselves that much where like you know what I'm
they're
talking
living
about,
the
right?
life of.
I truly can imagine that, like, man, when Michael, like, he didn't even know what he was in for, and that those dudes were already out there doing their shit whenever he was waking up, like, fuck, with his gun.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I used to never do that kind of stuff until like you kind of put me on that. And now that I do that, I'm loving playing games again.
Yeah, it's truly what people miss of how, like, how bleeding edge the art form is. It's not even 30 years young. It's the youngest medium that there is, and people have no idea the heights that it can reach as far as immersing you. And I mean, what's wrong with, like, you look up from a book and you forget where you were when people used to read books, if people ever remember that feeling, or you finish a movie and you're like, man, that was a damn good film. Why is it any worse to, like, really try to put yourself there and take yourself there in a game? But people look at it as like, you're weird. You should get some help.
Get some help, you fuck. You sick, perverted fuck. When it's like,
What
you're
else can
weird,
you do
you
when-
don't, You don't want to experience art. You don't
Yeah.
want to.
Because without you here, like that's the also amazing thing is that most people could just. And the other amazing thing is, dude, when you're playing the game like that, when you had that whole, with how I just role played that whole night as Michael, you know, you could
Yeah.
have just missed out on that if you just woke up and ran downstairs and went on a rampage, or if you would
Or
just
went on a
run
mission.
that guy over when you found him. Like if you had just found him and he's tied up to a pole, and you're like a typical player, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna run this dude over.
Dominating. Keep it up.
Yeah.
The enemy have captured a tower.
But I don't know. Maybe we're just out of our minds.
Maybe. But I don't think we are, to be honest.
I think if anybody thinks this world is not insane enough to where you would just rather want to lose yourself in a game because what's left anymore when they have subverted the very fabric of our society. So I'd rather think about life in the existentialist sense, in the philosophical sense, through the lens of a mass-produced product like Grand Theft Auto. And what does that say about my generation? But really, I'd rather than pursue this game, this reality.
Than our own? Or is that what you're trying to mean?
Yes. Because people would look at you like, well, man, you get that immersed. That's fucking weird. It's like, there's nothing left in this world anymore. I don't really see a future for most people other than like, well, I mean, keep your health, because if healthcare gets really fucked, then you're gonna need that. But for the long haul, the majority of us probably are not going to have a life partner. We're probably going to just be millennials and zoomers sailing alone into the endless future.
We will be peasants eventually.
Will be something. It all depends on your brand of pill. And with that, I think whatever we were trying to get to the bottom of has still been further buried. But
Buried in
I'd say we're
the
calling.
ether, in the abyss, and I think we're running out of time here, so
before
thank
we
you
go,
for joining the
endless
Genuine
future, I want everyone
Podcast.
to realize in the Genuine Podcast here, to quote Orwell, if you want to imagine the future, simply imagine a boot stomping on a human face forever.
The remaining enemies must not report back to the command. Eliminate everyone.
Okay. Oh shit.
That one.
Oh shit,
I
hold
think
on.
it has to do with